Hi, this is Eve. This is not a green screen background, but it's real. It's like, you see, very nice spot. It took a while before I could find myself a very nice spot. I mean, like something different. Anyway, it took me some moments to figure out exactly how I'm going to say what I have to say, but it's about 2025. 2025 is a big transitional year in, let's say, the shifting times from one constellation into another one, and it's like the time to get straight with yourself, straight with the world, and all the delusional messages and delusional people will one way or another be exposed somehow. But at the same time, the powers that be are trying to orchestrate things to usher us as a collective in some kind of a direction with their agenda. And I have, let's say, the last few years, a few good teachers that explain exactly, let's say, from their point of view and their wisdom about what is going on behind the scenes and in the world. But three completely different topics that I want to merge together to see the whole picture. One thing is like a decoding work of figuring out through numerology and mythology what is going on behind the scenes and how the world is like scripted and organized in a specific way, and why things are happening in this specific moment. Secondly, somebody that explains very well the difference between Web 2, Web 2.5 and Web 3, and the evolution and the smoke screen and the whole crypto space when it comes to the technical architecture of the software, and what is actually possible of the new features that are able to be built on this Web3 infrastructure. And third is the teacher. Actually, I'm going to reveal all those names in the links below. I'm happy to share because this is not a public video. This is only a video for the ones that have the eyes to see. The third teacher is about, let's say, the wisdom of the human energy. And he's the founder, or let's say the visionary, the guy who had the visionary idea to put ancient wisdom together when it comes to human energy, which is called the human design. And his theory goes as his insight when it comes to a shift in constellation of a 400-year cycle from the constellation of planning to the constellation of the rising phoenix, which is coming for the next 400 years. So within that transitional time, it will go along with a different background energy. And at the same time, the powers that be are ushering us into a new kind of technological paradigm where everything will be organized from will be able to be, let's say, organized in an infrastructure which is called Web 3, where exchange of value will be possible. And there's a lot of things to say about that, but basically the old infrastructure, the Web 2, let's say, is not able to hold this new feature which is called AI, and it cannot support that, basically. We have seen a few examples as ChatGPT and so on, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. AI will do much more than that, but it has to be trained in a specific way, and it has to be, let's say, monetized and trained by specific corporations for a specific end user purpose, not as, let's say, for the collective use, you know. So some companies will need like a special trained AI with their specific data for themselves, right? And then we have, let's say, the signals from the powers that be that are pushing us into some kind of a agenda. So all these things together, right? Now comes the nuggets or the explanation of what I'm intending to say is through the movies, through, let's say, the Hollywood scenery, they are giving us signals what they are actually planning to do so and how they are actually going to do. We saw in Demolition Man, or we saw within the LA fires. This is actually also some kind of a pre-programming thing. I don't know if you remember the movie Time Cop. This is informing us about the transhuman agenda, where Elon Musk is like the front man for that. So basically, the conclusion of Waters above, which is doing the decode work in the numerology, he saw the connections with the lunar eclipse coming into September this year, and in the movie Leave the World Behind, what is actually going on and what they are actually trying to tell us or to prepare us for. With, let's say, this is already cooked in the books and pre-planned way ahead, like we had Event 201 in before, let's say, the preparation meetings before Corona actually happened. And now we are more or less in the same kind of situation where the old financial system is lacking liquidity to keep the house of cards sustainable. So when this occurs, it's pretty clear that there is a need for a certain global event in order to have a big reason to print massive amount of money to support the debts and the interest rates on those debts. And in the movie Leave the World Behind, we saw that there was some kind of a cyber pandemic or a plandemic or a cyber issue where all the systems were not able to function anymore. And when I hear Bobby talking about the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 and what are the actual issues of Web 2, which is not, let's say, ready to support the new feature on the internet, which is a blockchain-based ecosystem or an exchange of value, or let's say a proper working AI. So if you put all these things together, then you see the whole picture. And I think they are going to plan some kind of a cyber issue in the lunar eclipse on September 2025 with the agenda to push us from Web 2 to Web 3. And at the same time, this technology will allow us as the rising phoenix individual, for us as a collective to collaborate together on a global scale. Web 3 is actually necessary in order to be functional within the Aquarian age, where there's no need for a government, when there's no need for lawyers, when there's no need for accountants, and when there's no need for a banking system. Through a Web 3 based DAO system, companies will be able, or let's say the old top-down structures of companies is outdated, that's done. All companies at the end of the day will become DAOs. And a DAO allows us to work on a global scale in a trustworthy environment where we can do on a transparent way on governance, which is the daily operation management, where we can have our accounting, and where we can have asset management. So these three factors are very important for a company in order to manage proper, to keep, let's say, the shareholders or the investors or the managers in line, to keep everybody happy and everybody's transparent, and there's a tamper-proof, unstoppable, decentralized private cloud space that is holding that. It's complicated, right? But these kind of type of events are, let's say, in a way necessary to push and to create some kind of a need from going from Web 2 to Web 3. Sometimes, you know, you can say the Dark Lords and the Cabal and the ones that are running the show, they are killing us. But if you see it from, not killing us, but they are manipulating us, they're giving us, they are our teachers, right? And if we are actually in a simulation, three-dimensional game experience, life, which is called on Earth school, Earth is a school experience for us as a soul where we actually incarnated. If you put all that thing together, there's no game when there's no counterplay, right? So we need some kind of a counter player in the game in order for us to evolve. It took me a while before I actually, let's say, came to that conclusion, and it took me a while to come into some kind of a state of acceptance in order to accept that Dark Lords are actually here in this dualistic world. So, if this is going to be the case, and I think this is going to be the case because the signs are clear, right? I put a few links below on that video to go much further into detail from the bigger picture that I'm trying to explain here, right? But this video is only for the ones that are ready to have the open mind and to see clearly into that kind of, let's say, broader picture, and are already in some kind of a state of acceptance. It took me a while before I get into acceptance as well. But so what I'm trying to figure out is how I'm going to help or let's say guide startups or small companies or existing companies that go into some kind of a transition, or small companies that want to, let's say, expand further to escape the fall of the Roman Empire, which is Western world. I think Latin America or Asia are the places to be for the next 10 years. And I strongly believe it's one of my favorite cities. Buenos Aires might be, let's say, back the Paris of Latin America. It will go back into its flower, opening lotus flower position as it was in the 60s. And I see, let's say, I'm in Asia right now, and I must say, things are moving here, you know. There's no sign of some kind of a depression or crisis or whatsoever, you know. But in terms of collective consciousness level, it's a different kind of collective consciousness level. You know, these people are like more into some kind of a survival modus state. We as incarnated beings on the Western world are actually here to experience materialistic experience and dealing with power, I suppose. That's my conclusion, right? So yeah, that's it. I really wanted to share that video, and maybe within a few years or next year that video will ripe as a good red wine, or for the ones that's seen that video on time, they might be prepared or have the eyes to see of what is actually going on or what is actually in the cards, right? That's it. All right, I'm gonna try to make some kind of a 360 view here. Okay guys, I'm gonna go a little bit on my tree here. Yeah, I'm here to, let's say, analyze things of all the things that I've learned. I have these three teachers that are really inspiring me for the last few months, year. One is Jordan from Waters Above. The other one is Bobby O, who was explaining in depth the software architecture of ICP. And the other one is Ra Uru Hu, which unfortunately died, who had a very massive download in Ibiza from, he's originally from Montreal, basically. Yeah, if I get the wisdom from these three guys and I put this together and I see things from myself on what direction are we heading into, it's crazy. It's very interesting at the same time. It's crazy, and my incarnation cross actually says that I'm here to guide and I'm here to study systems that are good for the greater good in the collective way, to, let's say, have a smoother operation of our society. So yeah, but if I can help smaller companies, startups, anybody that is like looking for puzzling with the energy within their small group, it's called Penta formation, but I will make videos about that specifically. This is my thing. I think, you know, I really would love to be architect of human energy and Web3 at the same time, and I put these things together. This is going to be to build, let's say, building the new world will not be in the physical world, because everything is here, you know. You see these nice real estate. We have nice real estate around the world. We're gonna be with less people around the world at the same time. It's going to be a matter of maintaining it on the infrastructure that has been built. That was actually necessary in the constellation of planning. Now it's going to be, let's say, a constellation of the rising phoenix, where we will be able to develop us from a spiritual perspective, and where we're going to have an increasement in emotional consciousness, right? And our world and the organization will go much smoother when AI and robotics will do the physical work and the thinking work. So we have time for ourselves to develop. But in order to do so, you need to be in peace with yourself, and you need to be ready with your karmic luggage in order to be aligned, so you have connection to the above. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. That's enough. Okay, guys. Yeah, ciao.